Good to be here again. Thank you for coming out. Another episode. The strong woman really scared weak men. Because when I heard that, I was like, nah, man, why? I ain't scared of nobody.
Are you?
Sometimes I might have my weak moments, but I ain't scared.
You sure?
So then that means you're not a weak man?
Yeah.
Well, what's your definition of a strong woman, and what's your definition of a weak man?
I would say, in my opinion, a strong woman. What did you say? Well, in my opinion, a strong woman is somebody who can pretty much stand on her own and make decisions for herself. That's my opinion.
Okay.
And so that way I could say I'm a strong man, and whoever I'm with is a strong woman.
Okay.
Now I have my weak moments. I'm not going to lie, but that doesn't make me any less of a strong man. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So when I saw that, I was like, I don't really like, because who doesn't want a strong woman? I want a strong woman.
That's what they say.
But are you
guys
confusing strong woman with independent woman?
I think
No.
they're the same.
I mean, 'cause
They
it's
want to be the
it's-
same.
Yeah.
Well, but what I'm saying is, now, that was my opinion and my definition of a
Sure.
strong woman. And so it might be a lot of other things that will add to it, but that's what stands out for me in terms of seeing a strong woman, somebody who's independent, who can, make decisions on her own without necessarily needing some man to be like guide her and say, oh, this is how you need to do it.
Everybody has a different definition of what a strong woman is. And so my definition of what a strong woman would be is, again, somebody who can make decisions for themselves and know how to hold down whatever it is that they have by themselves. And then, but some people think a strong woman is somebody who yells a lot or is argumentative or I don't know, someone who always has something to say. That's not necessarily a strong woman. It's just somebody who's opinionated. But but a lot of times people think that strong woman means that you're always yelling or you're always like arguing and you'll never compromise on anything. And so I think men get scared of that, and that makes them kind of run away.
But then they're getting scared of something that's not necessarily a strong woman at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's just nagging. No, I'm talking about the whole yelling part. It's
Yeah.
always yelling, loud.
Yeah. But a lot of guys confuse like an independent woman as that. So like somebody, because she has this, she does this by herself, she doesn't need me. Because she has a point and she'll make her point despite what you think. Oh, she must be too strong, and so she doesn't need me, and I don't want to be with that. And so that's what I would consider a weak man. And so a lot of men feel like because a woman is strong and because she can make her own decisions, and when she has an opinion about something, she stands by it and she'll defend it to the very end. And so when they see a woman like that, they're like, oh my God, I can't deal with that.
But again, that kind of goes back to, it depends on what it is. So I see what you're saying. That makes sense. But if I put myself in that type of situation where, okay, I'm talking about me and this woman are probably talking about something, debating about a particular issue or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And if it gets to a point where she just straight up throwing stuff at me and not even willing to listen.
Well, then that's just poor
That's
communication.
different.
Yeah,
That's
that's
different
different.
from a
So
strong
that's
woman.
personality.
So then people that's what I'm saying, they confuse the two of those.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they feel like because they see a strong woman, somebody who can take care of herself, has an opinion, and can debate with you. And when they refuse to concede, all of a sudden, she's too independent, she's too strong. I don't know how to.
Passionate.
Too passionate. Too passionate. I've been told I'm too passionate. A lot of times that could be perceived as being a bitch because when I argue something, I argue it very passionately, and so it could seem like in a relationship, if we're having an argument, then that means I wouldn't respect you, or I would call you out your name, or something like that. But I'm not a bitch in a relationship, and I'm not even particularly like argumentative if it's something relationship-wise. It's just like if I have an opinion about something, then I'll express that opinion and I'll stand by what I say. But in terms of like nagging you and doing stuff like that, I'm not gonna yell at you for that type of stuff.
So I think we need to unpack this a little bit, right? So being a strong woman or strong man, a weak man is all subjective, right? Mm-hmm. But also there are things that we consider strong. So I'll use myself. I grew up with no other choice but to be strong. My mother was a single mother, so I've seen, that's the only example I've seen of a woman. is a woman who can take care of herself. Now, that's isolated from the way I can have a conversation with you, right? If we're discussing something, it doesn't make me strong if I have an opinion or if I can articulate what my point is and we can agree to disagree. We're just having a discussion, right? So I think we need to isolate what exactly are we saying scares men? Is it just my ability to survive?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So-
a man wants you to say,
You need him.
I need you. Help me out, please.
So the damsel in distress.
Exactly. I've seen this thing on Facebook. I think it was Kev on stage. He was saying a friend of his was on Tinder, texting a guy back and forth, and she said, "Oh, I have a job. I'm doing this. I work. Blah blah blah. I do what I want." And he said, "You seem like you don't need a man to take care of you.
How
You
was
seem
that
like
guy?
you don't need a boyfriend." What?
How old was that guy?
We don't know.
Oh, we didn't do
Oh,
it.
It was just an
a
example.
video.
Oh,
Yeah,
just a
But it's
Just
not
a video.
rare.
That just sounds ridiculous
a
to me.
lot
Why
of-
would you want someone to say,
A lot of that
Give me
mindset
money.
comes from
I need
older
this.
generations from us. I
But all that
think
stuff is
our-
passed down.
No,
Even if it's a little bit more
But-
subconscious
People
now, they
still
still
have
feel that
that.
way.
But you
Yeah.
have to look at today's
Mindset.
society. Today's society is pushing that independent mindset, whether you're male or
It
female.
depends on what culture you're in.
exactly.
True.
Well,
I mean, that is true,
but-
but
Yeah.
if you have access to technology, you're impacted by that more than culture nowadays, because that is the new culture. I think.
No.
Men just want their women to call them zaddy. Gross. It's gross.
But no, check this out.
Did I born you? I'm not your daddy. But if you call me daddy, I just look at you like, "Oh, okay, what next? Are we getting it on or not?" Like, I'm not your daddy. So you call me daddy, that's you wanted to call me daddy.
I what you're saying makes sense, but check this out. There's women out there who are, making these things act like feel like it's normal for a guy to do. Because there's women out there who
Take
are,
care of?
yeah, there's women out there who are like, no, he got to take care of me, he got to do this, he got to do that.
That's true.
So,
That's
so
true.
people are conforming to it. So,
That's
I
true.
mean, at the end of the day, women are really out there being like, yeah.
And they
my
make
man
and
can
those
take
women
care of
make
me.
it hard for independent,
It's
strong women like
very
us
It's like
to be in a healthy, normal relationship.
I think you should
No,
take care of
no,
each
wait, hold on,
other.
hold on.
I don't think it's too much to ask.
Hold on. First
I mean-
of all, here's what I think. If you're a strong person
Let
and
us
what you
know.
want is another strong partner, you're gonna find that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're attracting somebody that's weak, then you have to look at yourself and figure out, well, what is it about me that's attractive?
It doesn't
Attract all
necessarily-
kinds of
Some
things.
people.
No,
I'm
but-
talking
But
about
you
you.
accept,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
accept
It's
that
what you
person,
accept. Exactly.
then that's different.
Exactly.
But
And there are alpha females. Like I'm an alpha female and I'll eat a beta male for dinner. Okay.
Ah,
On
yes,
any day
girl.
of the week. I've eaten a few betas in my life. Hey betas. I think I've made them better for it because now they've wanted to level up after dating me or being in a relationship with me. I don't intentionally go out and do that. I don't intentionally go out to pry on someone who may be considered weak. But if I identify it, I just know that I'm just probably I have a little bit more vigor than they do, and it's probably not gonna work. As I get older, I can identify. It's either I'm going to inspire you or I'm going to intimidate you. And if I intimidate you, that means I'm playing on your
I'll write that down.
insecurities.
That was wonderful.
Okay? So whatever you're insecure about, I'm obviously must be overcompensating for. That's what you're attracted to, right? Like so. Okay, so I'm not good at this, but man, she's really good at that, right? So that's the draw. They won't ever admit it, or vice versa, but that is the draw. But I'm not in the business of trying to decipher what makes you feel good. If you're not at that point, then that's not going to work for both of us. As an adult, that's how I see it. Right? So if you can't acknowledge that, okay, this is where I am, these are the things that don't make me feel good or make me feel less than a man, then I'm not the woman for you, and that's okay.
A lot of guys, they see a pretty attractive, strong, independent woman and they go after her. And then they figure out, she's too argumentative.
Yeah.
She won't do this. She says she
says
won't
too
do
much
that.
words.
She doesn't need me
I
to
just
do
want her to
this.
sit and look
And it's
pretty.
like, well, if you don't like that, she was that way from the beginning.
Right.
Yeah.
Why did you choose her? A lot of times, a lot of men, especially in our culture, are probably what you would define as a strong man. They're independent. They think for themselves. They have opinions, and they argue those opinions. What happens is when those strong men find a strong woman, all of a sudden
They
they
don't
didn't
want
want
that
that
to
strong
happen.
woman. They want
Exactly.
somebody, I want to be alpha dog. She's too much.
Shut up and sit in the corner.
She needs to calm down.
So let me just throw this out there. So, like she asked me that question, I'm all for it. I'm all for a strong woman. And your characteristic, what you coming back to you is, she's argumentative, or she's independent.
Yeah.
One, she always comes with an A game every time. She's always up to date. I don't have to. She doesn't rely on me. Two, she's well to do in terms of she has a good job. Why would I want to like at that point? I'm like, this is good for us as a pack.
I think
Wait, does
in
being
society,
at what point
being argumentative make you a strong
Right.
person?
no, that's what I was saying. There's a
doesn't.
difference. There's a difference.
So at what point am I going to realize that I can't deal with
I don't
this
like
no
all
more?
of
Why would I? Why
So,
would I?
so culturally, it all stems from culture. Culturally, again, for like Nigerian, African American households, Christian households, the man is supposed to be the head of the household. He makes the final decision. This is my house. This is what I'm bringing home the bacon. All of this, right? So I get the final
he's
say.
bringing home the bacon.
If he's bringing, no,
Thank
well,
you.
not even if. Apparently, just
Apparently,
because
based
you
on
have a
things.
penis, you get that title, right? Okay. So then, when this woman comes along and says, "Okay, I acknowledge that you're a human being with a penis, but that doesn't necessarily mean that your opinion is what's going to go all the time," and so that leaves them feeling some kind of way. I don't feel like I'm the head of my household because I'm not making enough money. I'm not doing this. It's culture. So, like, even subconsciously, it's like, my dad was this in my household. I need to be like this in my household. But if that's not how your partner is, if she's not willing to submit, or if one partner doesn't want to submit and you feel like there's some kind of weird dynamic, it creates conflict.
I grew up in a different kind of household that calls for balance, and somebody does this, somebody does that, or we come together and do things together. I come up in that kind of household. So you have to know who you're dealing with in a relationship. If you do not know the nature of your mate, then there's a problem there. It comes down to communication as well. What you decide to do, what you decide to put up with. You have to understand each other. What's the strengths and weaknesses of this person? What's my strengths and weaknesses? How do we come together and make this work?
My philosophy is we don't always have to dream the same thing, but we have to dream on the same level. And the reason is because at some point, if we're not dreaming on the same level, our conversations are going to change. And I'm going to be talking about elevation and leveling up. And if you're still here, which is not bad, you could stay there. What kind of common conversation and dialogue can we have if we're not talking about the same things? I grew up poor, so that's my driver. And so I'm always going to be reaching for the next level, the next big thing, what's next for me. And if you can't match that type of intensity, it's not going to work. And I probably have scared off some folks. And that's okay. Maybe they weren't meant for me.
We've heard of someone who their dad left their mom when she started making more money than him.
Because
And
she
this
didn't treat him
guy our age believes that that's the way.
Yeah.
If my wife makes more money than me.
I don't believe that.
Yeah,
No,
I'm
no,
saying-
not you.
No, she's
No,
using
not
an
you. I'm
example.
saying,
I thought you said guys out
no,
there.
I
No,
know
she
no,
said a
I
guy.
said
Guy.
who is our age.
Oh, it's a guy.
He
Okay.
said that's what his father did to his mother,
Okay.
and he would never allow his wife to make more than him. If that happens,
because
they'll
then
get a
she wouldn't
divorce.
treat him with the same amount of
And
respect.
that goes back to when you said that, and here's what I'm gonna say to that. So we keep talking about strong man, weak man. That's the definition of a weak man, in my opinion. Of a
Me
I
weak
would also
man,
say
in my
that. So
opinion.
yes.
Some men are insecure. We live in a world where there's a song that says, "This is a man's world." But then I think the next couple of words after that is, "It will be nothing without the woman." So, I mean, a lot of times we do forget that second part of it. So
It just doesn't make sense. I would leave because she's making more. Now, it's a different thing if she's coming home and just throwing it at you and slapping you in the face with it, and it's just like you can't hear the last of it. And at that point, you got to decide which one's more. What do you want to do at that point as a man? But in my opinion, if both of you are fine and everything is healthy, it's no. That's like your ego. Like something's wrong with you somewhere. Like no, y'all need to. That's stupid. He's weak.
if you look at the nature of our society today, a lot of young black men are incarcerated. So you're not going to have a lot of young black men in these powerful positions. Women are going to take those positions because the men are not taking those positions. So what do you expect to happen? If I'm not making a lot of money, but my wife is making a lot of money, we're looking at the family. We can't look at it as individuals. We're looking at growing up together as a family. It doesn't mean I'm always going to be at my financial level. It doesn't mean I'm not going to grow anymore. It just means that she's the breadwinner. There's nothing wrong with that when you're talking about the family and having a plan as a family. I think that's the greater discussion that people tend to miss sometimes.
I was talking to this guy in the past, and we had a conversation about a movie about the African American struggle and how things don't go well. Everybody knows that struggle. And this guy came from jail and blah blah blah, and things weren't going well. And he was like, "No, it's up to you to have the willingness or the drive to make things work for yourself." I was like, "Yes, we all understand that, but society kind of makes life difficult for African Americans." We went through this back and forth. Days later, he said, I don't think we get along because we have different views. Why? Because I can speak. That is why. Because I can speak. I think he just wasn't willing to take a woman or just somebody telling him what he's saying isn't correct, or even just challenging his opinion. It just was ridiculous to me.
It really fundamentally bothers some men that you will not concede to his point.
Yeah.
And when you don't concede to his point of view, all of a sudden, if you passionately argue your point of view, all of a sudden, I don't think this is gonna work out.
But that's what happens. But I think that's what the definition for.
Or they let you get married to them, and they're like, you need to act right.
Yeah.
Right.
You need to shut up and sit down.
And I'm gonna just say this, and then you throw a point in there. At the end, whatever you say, I agree with it. But at the end of the day, the same thing happens on the woman's side as well. Mm-hmm. There's and if you think about it, it always goes back to what the individual person is passionate about. Mm-hmm. So you guys are passionate about certain things. If I come in here trying to argue that shit with you, there's no way I'm winning that argument.
Facts.
You see what I'm saying? So if you have your moment, y'all have your moments.
See, I didn't argue.
Y'all have your moments where y'all act the exact same way. And again, it comes back to each person realizing.
What are you trying to say, Peter?
I disagree.
What are you trying to say?
I disagree.
You just said the same about.
I will defend my point, but we have very different views. We end up arguing a lot, right? At the end of the day, right? Are we not still friends?
I think that's the point.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
saying. A lot of niggas wouldn't with me no more. That's what I'm saying. A lot of people wouldn't with me no more because I don't agree with them. That's all I'm saying.
It's not real, man. You're right for her.
I've never conceded a point to keep the peace because I don't want you to think that that's how I feel. It's not how I feel. And so I feel like that could potentially come back and bite me later. It's like, oh, but you said, and it's like, it's not true. I will say, okay, let's agree to disagree, and then we could just keep it pushing. I'll say that, but I've never been like, okay, you're right when I think you're wrong.
Sometimes when they're responding in an argument, they are thinking about, they're not listening to the other person. It goes both ways. They're not listening to the other person. They're listening in order to respond. So they're not hearing the other person's point. I think we can all be guilty of that.
Like God made many different colors for a reason, many different shades and animals and views and all that for a reason. The whole point is to understand that, okay, this person thinks differently. Why do they? I don't have to agree solely with how they think. Right. If I listen, then I might realize we have more things in common than differences.
Let's pick out like a top 5 things that make a man strong and make a woman strong.
To me, what makes somebody strong is when you have hurdles in life, like real life shit going on, and you're able to still make it through. Like consistently having in your mindset where you want to be. Although there's a lot of things going on, you're still consistently taking one step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time. Sometimes you don't feel like doing things, you don't feel motivated enough, but you're still taking those steps. I feel like people that are able to triumph through life's challenges, those are strong people to me. So when we talk about, being argumentative and all those kind of things, I feel like those are character traits. That does not really depict people can be loudmouthed and be very, very offensive or this, that, whatever, but they can still be strong people because you have to look at what that person has been through. Like what makes that person feel the way they feel. You have to dig through the surface and really understand that person.
We could add your ambition, right?
Yeah.
So your desire to be better in anything, right? Someone may determine that you have a strong desire, so you're a strong person, whereas someone who lacks the ambition and lacks the ability to or want to, they may say, oh, that they're kind of weak, or as they would call them, a simp, right? A simple person. Like they can't even think on the level of something grander. So.
And that's not just like ambition in terms of career. That could be ambition in terms of being a mom, being a father, being a Christian or a Muslim or whatever you are. Just you have a strong desire to do something, and then you see that into fruition. Also,
the ability to inspire. I think that's huge because naturally, if you're a strong person, if you're somebody who's been through things, people that want something in terms of the intrinsic aspect, qualities of being successful or having a strong mind, they're gonna naturally gravitate to you because your energy is just gonna be giving that off because you've been through something and nobody can tell you shit. So you have the right to walk tall and your hair strong and feel proud.
I think for me, the strongest people are the ones who are able to be vulnerable. They're open to the possibilities, and there's no hindrances, and there's beauty in their transparency. And that's something that I think we often overlook, but that really builds your strength. Not just your character, but it just shows that I can put aside fear and shame and all of that. I'm about to Iyanla right now. I can put aside all of that and still be open to receive anything. And the vulnerability, that's where true strength lies for me. Truth moment, I'm actually working on being more vulnerable. The strength comes from being open. And the more you're open, the more possibilities will come to you. And so, strength and vulnerability are married. And so you can't have one without the other. And especially if you are in a relationship, it allows the other person to feel comfortable and safe to as well be vulnerable. And so you both have a relationship of being open.
Strong women scare weak men. Could it be that those men that we're calling weak are not necessarily, they're not getting these things, they just lacking certain things that they can improve on, that can
Agreed.
You can learn.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you need a certain kind of someone in your life to drive you to.
And that was going to be my next point. So is it bad for a strong woman who knows she's strong and who knows and recognizes that this man here lacks certain things? Is it bad for her to, for one, I don't want to say she puts rubs in his face, but she recognizes that he needs certain things, but he may not even realize that he needs those things. He may not even realize that he's lacking something, but she recognizes that he is.
Yeah.
So that's a
to be
choice
okay
now.
with that.
Yeah, that's a choice. That comes down to, do you want to put in the work to help this person or not?
You might not reap those
and that's
benefits.
okay.
Yeah.
And then,
that's true.
yeah, it's true.
Sad
Don't.
life.
Did you hear what she said?
Sad
You
life.
might not reap
So you
those
might not reap
benefits.
those
You'll put in that
benefits.
work.
It'll be the next
And
one.
they'll be like,
You'll build up the man.
That's
Because
a whole other
honestly,
topic.
making a man stronger, a lot of times that leads to him resenting you.
And then
And so he'll
apply
learn,
that
he'll
the
go to
next
therapy
person.
and then understand, you know what, she was just trying to make me better. I get it, but oh well.
Sadly, he's already at the third person.
Yeah, the relationship
after
is
you.
already toxic.
Did he say he wanted to be stronger, or you as a female saying, I'm just going to mold this man to be who I
Mold, that's not the word.
No, but
Not
typically,
No, I'm just
she
saying, like,
realizes
I see what he's
that-
talking
my
about.
point is this.
I see what
You
you're
may
saying.
want to help somebody, but it's the person
They don't
trying
want
to
your
do
help.
something.
That's what their
I think it's
resentment
the
comes
At that point,
approach.
you're just wasting
I
your
think
energy.
it's the approach. First off,
I
you can't just
agree.
say, "Look at you, you're a bum. You need to get up." Blah 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 blah. You can't be talking to someone like
Right.
that. It's an
Right.
approach.
Right.
And if you're talking to your man like that, it's like,
I'm like,
Come on.
Let's flip the script. Strong man versus weak woman. A woman, are there certain women out there who just fancy being the weak one
Kept
and
submissive.
Right.
I know someone that dated this one guy and they broke up. Like they used to live together, but she would have him come over every couple of days to throw out the trash.
Wow.
Bitch, why can't you throw out your own damn trash?
No, he's
Why?
stupid for going over there every day to throw out her
But
trash.
he might like that.
She's
He
not
might
really
like that.
You can't call him stupid. You can't call him
Again,
stupid.
there's some men who want that
code
type
words.
of woman.
You're not
Some
together
men
anymore.
want
That's
to
not
go
what it was
to the
about.
woman
I
and
don't know
trash.
about that, but
No, there are some women that say,
Why is he doing
I don't
it?
cut
Why
my
is he
grass,
doing
I
it?
don't throw out the trash. And that's different if you both have your own roles. But it's like I've decided that I can never, there's
put the
boxes
trash?
downstairs. I'm a female. I can't put that box upstairs. That's your job. It's like, so you left the box downstairs for 2 weeks because your husband, because you can't do it.
No.
No, but some women are on that. Some women are on that type. Like, I need you to do this because you are this for me, and I'm gonna completely rely on you. I'm gonna play dumb. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Like, some women are willing to literally play that. Like not. It's not submissive. It's like
It's more like
it's like
different.
permissive.
Can't
It's like
touch this.
my husband
No,
says I can't
I'm
do
sorry.
this. My husband says I can't do that. No, I have to and it's not like major life decisions.
Some
Just,
men want their wives to just stay home and
Yeah.
not do nothing.
And some women are okay with that.
Yeah.
But I
How do you feel
also
about
think
it,
I think
Tafir?
there's areas of strong and weak because I'm a strong woman. I'll just use myself. I'm, like I said, alpha female. But there are parts of my life where I am very weak. Where my boyfriend, that's where I need him to come in and give me this.
Yeah.
Right. And on top of that, I'm in a leadership position at work. All day I'm being strong. So when I come home, really, honestly and truly, I want to take that off. I really do. And I don't think it makes me weak. I just think there's areas in my life where maybe a void or maybe where I need that special attention. So I think it's areas, and I think it has to be dissected as such. And being at work, in my career, I'm already proving myself, right? I'm proving myself as a woman, proving myself as a Black woman. And when I come home, what I need is love. Like, I need to be loved on. I need to not think. I want somebody to make the decisions for me. And that balances me. And so I am able to separate my work life from my home life and allow my man to come in and lead me and provide for me in that capacity.
I think there's a healthy balance.
It is.
If I'm someone who can be on top of things and organize our schedule, and you're someone who is more action oriented, so I organize and you make it happen.
Yeah.
That's not strong versus weak. That's just you do this, I do that.
That's an agreement.
Yeah,
Division of
that's.
labor.
I'm talking about somebody who's just hanging out. And they can't do shit. And I have met people like this. I have met women like this who can't do anything. My
Looking
boyfriend,
for the come up.
who can't do
And-
anything. Even girls who look
That's
for the
even
come
better.
up. That's
That's
not even
better.
a weak woman. Because
Because she's
strategic. She's strategic. She
goes
went
to
out there. That's a
spots that
hustle.
matter.
That's a
Exactly.
hustle. All these gold diggers, you people are sleeping on them. That's a hustle. I'm talking about
out here with
hoes
be winning.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm talking about these girls who can't do nothing for themselves, and they will be
Hold
on
up,
the
someone.
street in the gutter if a man didn't marry them. And there are people like that in this world.
Some women feel like they have to pretend like they can't do these things, especially like manual labor things on their own in order to make a guy feel needed. So they cater to that.
I wish I could be a gold digger. It just seems like a wonderful, wonderful life. But unfortunately, I was raised with like pride and crap like that. And it's gotten me nowhere in life. But here I am. So don't worry, I'm not coming after you for your money. You'll never see me probably dating a ball player unless I got really, really, really lucky. A lot of men, they only want a woman to make them feel more secure about themselves. And so if they don't have somebody next to them at all times telling them that they're good looking and that they're paid,
Stroking
No,
ego.
no.
they need
you know
somebody
what?
to help.
they-
Not even just stroke their ego. They need a woman to help them feel like they have value. Like if the woman doesn't need them at all, they feel that they're not valued at
Useless,
home.
yeah.
I
That
can't. You don't need me to
connects
pay
to
your
the-
bills.
Yeah.
You don't need
Yeah.
me to fix. Like you can fix your own car. You
That
can
was
take
the
your own
example I
car
gave
for
earlier,
an
yeah.
oil change. You don't need me to change a tire. You don't need me.
So what am I here for?
I would love that any day. Let me just let you know.
Yeah, but that's not how you get all of your
I would love
value.
for my woman to not call me back. Oh my
So
God,
I mean,
stop
a lot
taking
of
my time.
times,
I would love that.
a lot of times, guys
You know what I'm
don't
saying?
want their woman to make more than them because they feel like they would be less valuable in the relationship.
They would
No,
be
we can't
useless.
control that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's too hard to control that. That shouldn't be the
control
only.
that.
That's too hard. That's too much
Like,
weight.
let's
to put
let's
on
put you on this
You
bag
got
together.
something.
Yeah. That's too much weight to put on yourself in a relationship, and that's a lot of times that's again where conflict comes into the relationship, where now you feel insecure because I'm making more than you, so now you've internalized that, and now if I don't ask you, have you eaten yet when you come home, all of a sudden I've changed. I've changed.
And now I'm with her representative. I'm with her.
And so they put a lot of weight into things like making more money and all of that.
You're right. There's situations like that. But we are out of time. So it was. I mean, we've actually gone over time, but it was good conversations. So do we agree that being strong is
Scares weak men?
Subjective.
Oh, sorry.
subjective in a way, and also it's more like a traits, characteristics. What makes up being strong is more each person's.
It's in the eye of the beholder.
You can say it like
Yeah.
that. You can say it like that. But you just talk to each other and communicate.
Easier said than done. What if people can't communicate? What if they're talking?
Poor
Okay, we're
communication.
done. Hey, good conversation. We're gonna go further with that good conversation. So, nice one. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Peace out with you.